everybody. Welcome to the Ruckus Room. I'm so excited today. We've got Rachel from Lotus Elite Healthcare to talk about GLP-1s. And hi, Miss Rachel. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Well, to get this show started, I just wanted everyone, if you could introduce yourself and kind of give me a little bit of a background so everybody knows that you're qualified to answer some of these questions.
Okay. Um, my name is Rachel. I have been a nurse practitioner for 13 years. I did 10 years in the emergency department. Prior to that, 6 years of ICU nursing. Over the last 3 years, I have almost four. I've opened a direct primary care practice where it's evolved, and weight loss has been a big part of our community and requests over the last couple of years, which include GLP-1 therapies. So it's kind of the trend right now, and I have a lot of patients on them, and there's a lot of questions out there. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to answer some and hopefully shed some light on them.
Well, thank you for that little introduction. So I have a question for you. So if someone comes to you and they want to get on GLP-1s, what is the criteria that you look at? Is it just the BMI? Are there other health issues that you look at when you're, saying, yeah, I think you would be a good candidate for this kind of medication?
So the FDA has its own guidelines, right, for your name brand GLP-1s, but when it comes to individualized practice and weight management, there's a lot of different factors that come into play if I'm going to prescribe it for somebody or not. Um, BMI to me is not the most helpful indicator of health. It doesn't take anything into factor except for your height and your weight. There are several comorbidities that GLP-1s, just losing weight, will help to better or get rid of. And there's also there's a huge aspect of feeling good in your own skin, right? We all have a weight where we feel healthy at, where we hurt less at. And there's different things that the GLP-1s work on that really don't even have anything to do with weight loss that I discuss with my patients. And if it's appropriate, I feel comfortable prescribing it.
Can you mention what some of those are?
So, patients with autoimmune disease that have a lot of inflammation, right? So, glucose, elevated glucose, sugar is at the baseline of so many inflammatory diseases, right? So, if you can have something that reduces that and keeps it at a level playing field and by reducing that glucose, the inflammation goes away. I've had patients with autoimmune who haven't had a flare since being on their GLP-1s. I have patients whose pain has been essentially resolved. They're able to, participate in daily activities. Patients with cardiovascular disease, they're finding some really good research on the benefits of GLP-1s in cardiovascular disease. Patients with binge eating disorders, it really helps to quiet that food noise and help with those binges. So if you're looking at the broad spectrum of GLP-1s, there are, of course, on-label FDA uses. But when you get to know your patients and their needs, you're able to kind of tailor a plan that better fits them, and you really find some benefit from using them.
So if someone comes to you and they want to know about the long-term effect on your metabolism system, how does that affect with the appetite suppressant when you're actually on it? Like, how does that affect you long-term, your metabolism? Like, is it something you're going to have to stay on for the rest
So
of your life?
it it depends on what you're using it for. So GLP-1s do affect your GI tract, right? They're slowing it. That can cause many issues in when it comes to that, right? So that's why it's important to be with a provider who's monitoring you, who you have direct contact with, who can help you through those or decide if maybe this isn't the best option for you any longer. If you're just using it to lose some weight, so you feel better in your own skin, there's really no reason to be on it long term. However, people who struggle with obesity their entire lives, it truly is a chronic disease in a way, and that is it's something in their makeup that is difficult for them to ever imagine going back to. So GLP-1s have been around a long time, right? Mostly for diabetics. That's what they initially came out from. And diabetics are on GLP-1s forever. So it really comes down to a case-to-case basis on how long a patient is on them, and really taking into consideration, where they were at before they were on them, how they feel now, and what type of side effects they are having throughout the duration of their current treatment. There is a time and a place where I'll call stop, or I will not prescribe them anymore for patients who are struggling too much on them.
So now
Let me
that
jump in
people
for
are,
just a second.
oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So I was diagnosed a while ago, pre-diabetic, and my doctor put me on Ozempic.
Okay.
I don't have insurance, and Ozempic without insurance is like $1,000 a month, and so that lasted 1 month of free trial.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 months. He gave me 2 months of free trial. And it did.
That was nice of
bring
him.
down, start to. Yeah, he was very. It was a good doctor. It started to bring it down to 2 months worth, and I noticed the weight going down and stuff like that. And my glucose level also started to go down. Then the free sample ran out, and I didn't have the $1,000 a month, so I went off it. And as soon as I went off it, because I did not change my diet or anything while on it.
That's the key.
Yeah, that is the key. My weight shot back up. My fault. 100% my fault. And some other time I'll tell you the rest of the story, where I pricked my finger one day and my glucose level was 404.
Yikes.
So I changed things. But for people that don't have insurance, are there other brands or whatever of GLP-1 that become a little bit more affordable?
There are. So this is kind of where you get into the sticky situation of compounding pharmacies, right? Compounding pharmacies are amazing. They've been around forever. They make medications tailored to a patient and their needs. So the big pharma and kind of came after compounding pharmacies earlier this year, trying to shut them down. And the law is that they cannot make exact replicas of the branded Wegovy, Ozempic, Zepbound, Zepbound, or Mounjaro. So compounding pharmacies have found kind of a workaround, right? The benefit of a compounding pharmacy product is not only cost, is you can really personalize the journey for a patient who's having rough side effects, a patient who might need to microdose. You can split dose. You can alter the dosing that's not available in name brand to better care for your patient and to give them a better experience while on the medication. So that is the backup plan. Unfortunately, affordability is not a approved reason, but there are many, many reasons why a patient would be okay and qualify for compounded GLP-1s.
Mm.
Yeah, because you talk about the insurance, like, because I know I'm I'm recovering from heart failure, and I have had issues, and I've had Zepbound and Ozempic, a couple other ones, sitting at a pharmacy for over 2.5 months just to try to get approved. And I have cardiac issues that I could definitely have used that. So that's why I had to venture off into, other options. But you said earlier that people that are on it for a long term because of diabetes and stuff, have you seen like the development of the tolerance now that more people are using this medication to this medication? And if they do develop it to a medication, does that mean they have to switch over to like from Ozempic, it go in stages to like more potent stuff, maybe at the compound level, or what have you noticed?
Absolutely, your body does adjust to dosing. When it comes to the weight loss component, the work on your glucose will still be being done by the medication, but weight loss does halt at some point. A lot of times patients who start on one will switch to another. They'll take a little break. You'll change up dosing or dosing location, and they might get a reboot. So there is truth behind that. Your body does kind of grow or adjust to the doses that you're on. And then eventually you will no longer lose weight at a level, but it doesn't mean it's not doing the glucose control behind the scene, reducing inflammation and giving those other benefits.
Yeah. Okay. How do you respond to critics? Because GLP-1s are just to promote weight loss real quick. They're just a quick fix, and I just know as people, some people don't understand other people's situations. They're not as sympathetic to it as they should be.
Mhm.
But what do you say to your critics that are like, oh, that's just like that girl over there, she's on Ozempic, you can tell, like, without knowing the whole background? Like, what do you say to them about that? Because it's not just always about a quick fix like people
I
assume.
Correct. And I think you nailed it on the head. They don't know this. They don't know the story, right? That's the benefit to being a provider and getting to know my patients and getting to know their story and making a decision for their care together with them and why they're on what they're on. So critics don't bother me. I I just take their ignorance and acknowledge it and move on. It's I don't want to say it is ignorance, right? They don't take the time to get to
Yeah.
understand a patient, and that's not really their role, but it's really easy to judge from an outside
Well, I
standpoint.
think also the biggest misconception about the GLP-1s that nobody talks about, you still have to diet and exercise and actually put in the work. It's not like you're just taking this, you can eat whatever you want and you're going to move on. And I think that was my biggest thing. I didn't do enough research in the beginning. I was sick as a dog because I didn't drink the water I was
Mhm.
supposed to be drinking before. I was sick and I couldn't eat the protein I was supposed to eat. And you have to eat very clean to be able
Absolutely.
to tolerate this medication. You have to walk your 30 minutes a day or do exercise to lose weight and actually tone yourself. Like, a lot of work goes into this, and I think that's what irritates me the most about the ignorance is people just assume this is a magic shot and it does everything, but it's not. 2 to 3 pounds every week is not going to change. Like, it's mentally still exhausting. It's mentally, you still have to think about what you're putting in your body. And for people that have had problems with food or yo-yo weight loss, it is hard for them to do it. I think that's the biggest misconception. I don't know if you would agree with me, but it's not. It's not as easy as everyone thinks.
Correct. So um, GLP-1s are great tools to lifestyle changes, right? Some people are going to do a GLP-1, never change a darn thing, and they're going to lose weight, right? And then their friends going to want to go on it, and they're like, what the heck? She still ate cheeseburgers and fries and didn't do 1 ounce of exercise, and she lost 30 pounds, and I can't even lose 3. But the truth is, you have to do the work. Nutrition is key when you are on a GLP-1. So protein, I really just have my patients focus on protein, right? There's a lot of other things we can focus on, but if we have one thing to focus on, it's a lot easier. So we have a protein goal. We have a daily protein goal that I want them to get. And probably if you ask any of my patients, they are like, yeah, she beats the protein to death. But every week, if we're at a plateau, we're not making as much progress, I'll say, okay, what was your protein intake? If they're not to where their goal was, I'll say, let's stay put and repeat and focus on intake this week. And when they notice, what they notice is when they're hitting that goal, their weight's coming off, they're feeling better, they're not as
Yep.
nauseous. Nausea comes when you get behind on eating. So, and then when you're nauseous, you don't want to eat. So then it gets even worse. And I try to push this home so hard with my patients. Like, you have to eat. You also have to learn to listen to your body. Overeating, eating the wrong foods, eating too much of the sugary carbs, eating too much of the fried fatty foods, you are going to get sick, guaranteed. That is why they are such a good tool in changing your lifestyle habits, fueling your machine rather than eating everything, right? We're fueling a machine that needs to work, and we need to wake up our metabolism, letting our body know that we are going to feed it and fuel it efficiently so it can burn. And that's where we wake up the metabolism. That's when we start seeing loss coming off. That's when we see weight loss that can be sustained off of the medication because you have made the lifestyle changes that you were intended to make while on the medication that it helped you do.
And plus, I think people, just by losing weight, they're going to feel a little better anyways to be able to do their weight loss
Mm-hmm.
or do their workouts and things like that too, which also help. How many grams of protein should a normal person eating a day? Because that was surprising to me. I didn't how much I was under eating protein. Like, it's crazy. And now I'm drinking clear protein drinks because half the time that's all I can tolerate. Protein
Right.
bars, things like that. But I had no idea you had to eat so much protein. How many
And
grams?
it's difficult. So for women, I
Yeah.
encourage, if you're not hitting the gym hard, you're not pushing weights, just a goal of 110 grams. And for men, 130 grams of protein a day. It's very difficult when your appetite is suppressed and your gut's not moving fast, right? So I encourage, we find a supplement that works well for you. We go over protein rich foods to get that in, even if it's through small increments throughout the day, or you're supplementing with 3 protein shakes a day. But that protein really is key in your weight loss journey.
And for the people that are heart patients that can't drink enough water, what is your goal if you're not a heart patient? Kind of like a gallon a day?
So I don't really go on an amount, right? We all can see what
Okay.
color our urine is when we pee,
Yeah.
right? So we want your pee to be a clear yellow to clear concentration, essentially. And if it is yellow or anything darker than that, you need to drink more water. So I feel like patients respond. Some patients they definitely need numbers, right? But most patients, if they have to track one more thing, it's just like another headache. And
Right.
I try to make it as easy for them as possible. So we all know what color our pee is when we go.
What are some of the side effects for somebody who is just starting a GLP-1 and has never been on it before that they might experience when they first start or when their dose goes up? Because that that was surprising to me, is some of those
Yes.
symptoms.
So the most common side effects are nausea, constipation, and indigestion. So
The fun
nausea,
stuff, all of the fun
yes,
stuff.
all the fun stuff. Our gut is slowing, right? Nausea is not only a slowed gut, but if you overeat, you eat the wrong thing, or you get behind on eating. So that's probably the most common one. And then constipation, your gut is slowed down. So I always encourage everybody from the beginning to be very vigilant. That's where your water intake really comes into play, increasing your fiber intake. There's some wonderful supplements that help, over-the-counter stool softeners. And I always tell my patients, if you get yourself in a real bind, I'm happy to help you out. Just don't tell me you haven't pooped for 10 days, because
Yeah.
then we're going to be in a situation. I'll get you going, I promise. But it's not going to be fun.
Well, so, and that was a crazy thing. When you don't feel like you're like hungry, because sometimes you just don't feel hungry, but you have to eat. How do you know you're overeating when you're forcing yourself to kind of eat? Isn't it? It's a very awkward feeling.
It's really just
Difficult.
listening to your body. So when you're completely suppressed, some people are completely suppressed. So that's where they have to make a conscientious effort just to eat a small amount throughout the day. But if you can sit down to a meal and you start eating and then you're full, you don't have to finish the sandwich. You don't have to clear your plate. There's no punishment. You can still have dessert later if you want. But it's just really, once you feel satisfied, once you hit that, oh gosh, I feel full feeling, that's when you really start to have the consequences of overeating. You can always come back to what you started, and you will feel much better.
Yeah, and I'll go back
I
to
don't know if
what
I'm
you
answering
said.
your question.
Like, certain people, their metabolisms are different, and certain people on this medication will be different. Like, I love eggs. I have a really hard
Mhm.
time with eggs. Now that I only eat egg whites, I'm digesting them a lot easier. But I didn't realize broccoli I love. I have a problem with that because of the sulfur, some of the eggs sometimes.
Mhm.
Are there certain food, and dairy is horrible for me. I don't know if your patients can eat dairy, but I do not tolerate yogurt, cream cheese, anything like that very well. Is that normal?
I wouldn't say it's normal across the board, but usually
Oh,
people
okay,
who
I'm just
have
special.
indigestion, you're special. But people who have indigestion or get heartburn from certain foods, they might notice it more frequently with foods that typically never caused an issue. Taste does change for a lot of people. Things that they typically enjoy, they don't really have a craving for or even a want for anymore. So, um, not I'm not saying you're special in the sense that that has happened to you, but it's kind of a broad spectrum and individual based.
Like, I would
It's
love to
not
eat
always like,
yogurt
oh,
with fruit. I used to love
Yeah.
yogurt, fruit, granola because as a heart patient, that was like one of
Yeah.
my
It's a
favorite things. That was
great,
like my dessert. I can't stomach like my stomach. I feel like I'm like on the worst boat ride afterwards. I feel horrible, and I'm like, wow. Maybe after time, does it get better? You think the food tolerance as you're on the medication? Because I'm still fairly new on it.
I feel like if you're really struggling with the side effects, a dose adjustment is probably warranted, whether you're split dose or microdose. It might help you to get through some of that roughness a little bit easier, um, and not be so hard hit from it. Do you notice that there's like, I did shot on Sunday and oh my gosh, I can't tolerate it for the first 4 days? Any particular foods, or is it pretty much throughout the whole week?
Well, so I'm on microdosing now because the first
Okay.
week when I took it, I got very sick. I lost 11 pounds just the first week alone because I was sick.
Yeah,
I
you
was
don't
really
want that.
sick. And
Yeah.
and I literally took the shot at the lowest dose on a Tuesday. I could not eat until the following Monday, and I was just very little hungry. So I'm doing microdoses, which is more manageable now. It's just
Mhm.
I don't know if it's me. I'm afraid to try new food now just because
Yeah.
I'm so used to the bland chicken, the brown rice, the green beans, stuff that I know that my stomach will tolerate. And I think like when my sister's like, I ate McDonald's, not that I can eat that anyways, but I'm like, how the hell did you do that? You know, I'm
Yeah.
like some of these people go to like Chipotle and eat spicy food. And I'm like, how do you guys do that? Like, I can't do that. So, that's the hard part. I don't know if it's a fear now of trying it and being like, oh my God, my stomach's going to be horrible or,
It could
but
be
that was the other thing. People
partially.
gave me backlash for microdosing because they're like, don't do
Mhm.
that. The medicine's not as effective as I find it. I love
Mm,
it a lot better because it's more manageable for me for my side effects.
right.
And some of the people I know, they're doing it now, and I'm on tirzepatide. So that's very
And that's
strong in
your
itself.
individualized plan, and it works
Yeah.
best for you. So that's what patients aren't textbooks, right?
Right.
Nobody is the same. So everybody's going to respond a little bit different. And you can find like I find as a provider, certain things work well for the majority, but there's always a few that they have to do it a little bit differently, and that's okay. Um, Part of it is learning how to do that and what works best for a patient. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Okay, that was a little bit rough. This was a little bit better. Let's try this, and it's golden. So that's my job as a provider, to listen to my patient and to make sure that we're finding something that works better for them. And if we can't come up with that, GLP-1 may not be for them, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Um, that's not the
There's a
majority,
lot of
but
other
some people it's
options.
not. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. So back when Alan was telling us about his Ozempic and the insurance not covering it, how can people advocate for themselves to these
What
insurance
wasn't not
companies?
not to interrupt, not to, it wasn't that insurance wasn't covering it. I don't
Oh,
have insurance,
Fair enough.
I'm
so
sorry. So, well, then this is my question. How can you tell your patients to advocate for themselves when it comes to insurance is not approving medications? Because like I'm living proof of it that I tried to get medicine and for several different reasons, even for cardiac reasons, and they've denied it or held it. How do you help them, or what advice would you give them to advocate through the insurance companies to try to get, if they need it, the medicine approved?
Insurance is difficult.
Yeah, it is. It's
As
a
a
joke.
provider on the backside, and my practice doesn't even take insurance, but I have plenty of patients who have insurance. So when we're trying to do get a medication approved, and I'm doing the prior authorization on the back end, and then they don't get approved initially, and we have to do the appeal, it's a lot of time invested on getting that medication, and for a lot of times the outcome to not be promising. The frustrating part is the people who get to make the decision have no idea about this patient, right? And it really is heartbreaking. Sometimes, like I've had patients who have been on it insurance covered for a year, and then insurance changes, or we're up for new approval, and they'll deny it because they changed what they cover, and it's not fair to do that to patients. And I don't have a solution. I do my best. I get things approved when I can, and I have super big parties at my desk silently when I do get an approval. But the majority of the time, it's a lot of work for not a positive result.
I know, and it's so hard for people. That's why I'm saying any little advice, but it's a waiting game. It's just a constant fight between the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Mental health with these GLP ones. I can see how it could be on both sides of the spectrum. You know, medications have their side effects, but I also see how if someone's losing weight and they're in a mental funk, it could bring them out of it. What is your experience about the overall mental health of people that are on the GLP ones?
My favorite part of a GLP-1 is when people get their confidence back. So when they start to see the weight coming off, they're starting to be able to move without pain. They're starting to experience a life that they didn't think that would be achievable again, right? Some people are like, just if I could just lose 10 pounds, they've been struggling with forever, when really 50 pounds is what we really should lose. And then they see those numbers, and that, to me, the new life it gives people is worth every ounce of my time and figuring it out with them. So that is the positive aspect. There is a negative aspect, right? There, it can exacerbate anxiety. It can. There are some studies that show that there is a chance of worsening depression. But again, that's where that open line of communication with my patients come into play. I can't help you if I don't know what's going on, but if that is the case, then we need to not do that.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for coming in today. You have answered so many questions, and I'm sure so many other people out there uh, that are on the fence about taking this medication. Because I mean, people are like, "Don't take it. There's so many side effects," and then people are like, "Take
Yeah.
it if you know if you have meet these requirements and if it'll help you." I was one of those skeptics. I was like, "Oh no, I will never get on it." But then I gotten, recovering from heart failure. And that's the other thing. People just need more compassion because they don't understand, especially when someone gets physically ill, when they were so physical and now they can't do what they used to do, and weight comes on when you're not as active and things like that. It's hard to watch people go through that and then just be like, not sympathetic to it. So I wish there was a little bit more patience and kind, and thank God you're out there doing what you're doing, because you are, a pillar of that, and you spread that throughout the community. And I'm so grateful you came on today. I'd love to have you back to talk about other health issues if you are interested in it.
Absolutely.
And if you want to give the audience one more time your phone number, your name, where you work, and just so if they want to call or if they have questions about the GLP-1, I would love to have them call you, get you a little busier.
Okay. So I'm Rachel Dailey, nurse practitioner, owner, and the provider at Lotus Elite Care. It's here in Palm Coast. We do telemedicine as well. And the phone number to the office is 386-222-2944.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next week in the Ruckus Room. Have a great night.
Oh, thanks.
Hello, welcome to Good Vibes Nutrition, where every day is Friday. Good Vibes Nutrition was created to provide an environment of self-improvement through health, happiness, and community. Whether it's to lose weight, build muscle, gain more energy, or make friends, think of Good Vibes Nutrition as your Flagler Center hub for healthy living, personal happiness, and long-lasting relationships through the examples of kindness, encouragement, introductions, and pure love.